I have to start off by disclaiming that I'm not talking about the entirety of the Dune fandom. As per the title of this video, it's gonna be a little chill, maybe a little bit passionate near the end. But yeah, this is in regards to me reviewing the Dune movie, and I am a very fresh new. I wouldn't really call myself a fan of Dune. I don't even think that's fair to say, because I am so fresh in it that I can't even really consider myself a fan. I know virtually nothing about it. But when I did that video, a lot of you were very reasonable and civil, even if you disagreed, which I welcome disagreements. But oh my god, there's a very vocal sector of these overly passionate people who desire nothing but the utmost praises of a franchise, to which the adaptation either didn't do that great of a job, or did okay, or had issues, you know, despite me still enjoying it. And I've made videos like this in the past about fandoms, but good lord, I feel like I'm still a newbie to them, because I didn't realize people were this extremely passionate. That's the nicest way I can put it. But it's also giving Taylor Swift fan vibes, if you know what I mean. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, I made a video that was basically a throwaway talking about Dune. It was because the second Dune movie was coming up. And if anybody knows about me and my channel, I love poking fun at things. There are some things that piss me off, and I have a whole playlist of low-budget movie monster movies where I genuinely hate the movies, and I make fun of them. But I also review movies that I like and make fun of those too. I'm human. I rant about things sometimes. I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel happy and stuff. But overall, I think life is fun and enjoyable, and people have lost the ability for basic human connection. And one of those things is poking fun at each other and poking fun at things. It's just something that my best friend, cousins, brothers, you know, we always did that growing up. And it's pretty upsetting to see folks get so worked up over things that don't even touch their day-to-day lives, and get so heated over it to the point where they will personally attack people that don't think like them. One thing you'll notice whenever I review movies or TV shows is I don't personally attack people. I'll publicly criticize a TV show, and maybe even the writers and the directors, because they're the ones that wrote it. And even so, most of the time I do that, it's in jest. But I don't know those people personally, and I'm not attacking those people personally, but maybe I'll be a little bit more passionate in my criticisms if those people have come out and personally attacked the audience. But other than that, I understand that people like what they like, and they hate what they hate, but Lord have mercy. Seriously, I've been blindsided by how some folks will jump down your gullet and deep throat you with their torso if you say anything less than adoring about a franchise that they worship. It's like they don't realize that by attacking someone for not sharing their undying love, or for cracking a joke about their precious series, that they're the ones tarnishing its reputation. And you end up driving away folks who might have become fans if not for the hostility. And a friend of mine suggested that I watch Dune, and he kept on harping on about it. So I was like, okay. So I watched the Denis Villeneuve version right around the time where I made that video, because it was in preparation for the second Dune movie, and we wanted to talk about it. I believe I even mentioned in the video that I liked the movie, and I saw the second one in theaters, and I love that one even better, to the point where I would love to see it again. Oh my god, what a movie that was. In my opinion, it blew the first one out of the water. The second one was far better. I think that's the one I'm gonna go away remembering the most, because the first one was good. The second one, holy humpback whale areola, like it was so good. It did a better job with everything, including the storytelling. The first movie was decent, and you'd have to be completely out of tune with social cues not to notice the lighthearted vibe and atmosphere, and that I was in a playful, joking mood throughout the entire video. I constantly crack jokes and poke fun at things, because that's who I am as a person. Even when I was doing the Land Before Time reviews and I was actually getting livid because of how stupid it was, I guess I was cracking jokes. I was still angry, but I was roasting it. And I love that franchise. Call me crazy. But notice, I never once said anything bad about the audience personally. And I specifically mentioned that I enjoyed the movie. What a freaking funny movie. I absolutely enjoyed this movie. Like, despite me making fun of it, I absolutely enjoyed it. It was so sci-fi. There were a lot of inconsistencies in this movie that just made no sense. I feel like maybe stuff got lost in translation from the book. I never read the book. I don't plan on reading the books anytime soon. But some of the stuff was just downright confusing. You know what I'm saying? Like, this certain things that could have been done better, certain things that were heavily convenient, but the aesthetic of it was very, very nice. If you like beige and gray and black. Anyways, Not that I should have to enjoy the movie to get people's approval, but this makes it all the more funny that people are upset because I'm criticizing it. And it only shows that they wrote their comments and started bitching before they even watched the whole thing, or rather, they probably didn't watch it at all. I love how you can tell who actually didn't watch the video based on the comments that they leave, which I find also ironic because there are a lot of comments claiming that I didn't watch the movie, and that's why I missed or didn't understand some things. Funny how that works. It's almost as though you can miss things, right? Or misconstrue them, or they just completely gloss over your head, or that you can also not get what I'm saying because you actually didn't watch it. The only difference is I actually did watch the movie straight through. And the reason why I don't take a lot of the fandom seriously, or at least that section of the fandom, and why you end up turning people off with this kind of behavior, is because most of the vocal people that were upset that I came across from the Dune fandom that were getting upset were claiming that all my questions would be answered if I simply, and this was verbatim what someone said, if I stop being an idiot and read the books. I swear to God, every time I read this or hear people say that, I want to laugh because of how stupid it sounds. You mean all I had to do to understand a movie missing vital pieces of information was just read an 80-hour book series? Holy shit. What a revelation. Yeah, I think I'm good. Have you ever stopped for a moment to wonder what would be the point of even watching a movie or making it if people could just read the book, bro? And call me crazy, but when I'm about to see a movie adaptation of something, I don't necessarily like reading the book first because, number one, I don't have the time to read as much as I used to. I mean, audiobooks do help, and I love listening to audiobooks. But if it's something I'm genuinely not interested in from the get-go, I'm not going to be motivated to read it and spend the time doing that when I have other things to do where I can't always listen to something. Number two, the movie is usually a bite-sized adaptation of the book, and if the movie is good enough, it motivates me to want to read the book series to get more information. And if I usually read a book before, or just so happens that I read a book before the movie, it usually ruins the experience of the movie for me because the book is so much more in-depth that the movie always feels like it's rushing. It usually feels like that whenever I read a book first, and I don't read a book first in preparation to watch the movie. It's always something that I just happen to read ahead of time from years ago, and they're just now making a movie or show adaptation about it. Also, if the movie makes no freaking sense, or if it's not that good, then it doesn't inspire me to want to read the books unless people come out and say that the book was better. Like Wheel of Time. For the most part, I enjoyed the concept of the Wheel of Time show, but it ended so freaking stupid. I did a full review on that as well. The Wheel of Time fandom did not come out and personally attack me for misunderstanding things that they left out of the book, or that they changed, or that the show did not explain in depth, or even that I just misunderstood. They either poked fun at me, which is totally okay because I welcome that, or they encouraged me to read the books, claiming that the book was much better, did a much better job with certain things, it's a much better experience, the characters are better fleshed out, and the main character is actually the main character in the book and not sidelined like they did in the stupid ass show. It still gets me mad thinking about that. But what most of the fandom of the Wheel of Time didn't do was say, like a brain dead person, just go read the book, bro. As if the book was being handed out for free at the same time you were watching the show. Those type of people annoy me, and it makes it hard for me to take anyone's intelligence seriously when that's their go-to. There are folks who genuinely mean well, but then you have those who accuse me of not understanding things due to the movie's failure to explain them properly. What's more baffling is that some of them will admit the movie's fuck-ups, yet they still blame me for pointing out or criticizing the very flaws that they just acknowledge. It's like they're agreeing that the movie missed the mark, but somehow see my critique of these omissions as unwarranted nitpicking. So like this comment here, and these are already public, so you blow up your own spot. And this person says, I don't know. I guess I meant to say, I don't know if I should be mad at the movie for poorly explaining things or not explaining at all, or mad at Alteori for misunderstanding every single detail. So someone said definitely the latter or both. Okay. In reply to this, if you're acknowledging that you don't know whether or not to be mad at the movie for poorly explaining things or not explaining them at all, then why on earth would you get upset at me for not grasping the details that they fail to convey clearly or at all? That doesn't make any goddamn sense. The Dune fans are freaking crazy, bro. Like, I expected more from a sci-fi fandom, assuming it'd be filled with more logically inclined folks. I can't read what's in your mind, and it's important to realize that your perspective more than likely is shaped by knowledge of the book series. And a lot of the fans of the series, including my friend who encouraged me to watch the series, know the series inside out and have a deep understanding of the lore, which isn't something that a newcomer like me would have right off the bat. This is my first experience with the franchise. I've known of it, I've heard the name Dune, but I've never watched anything from it. I've never played any games about it. All I've ever seen were memes about the spice, and I just did not get the reference at all. So having come into this for the first time with, you know, my fresh pair of velvet virgin eyes, and you gotta grasp that there were bits they skipped. You know, they couldn't fit into the runtime, they probably chopped it out, or just flat out botched and explained it. Take the whole drum stand thing in Dune. This was a big debate. People were freaking raging at me for not understanding the drum stand situation. But it makes no fucking sense to me because I don't even know the fuck what drum sand is. Okay, it's sand that sounds like a drum when you step on it. Okay, that's what I got from it, clearly. But just take a look at this scene and why I was criticizing it.
He's drum sand.
Hello, motherfucker.
Why? I don't understand. I feel like there's so much information that we are missing conveniently. I'm sorry. I'm gonna sound super passionate. You guys know how I am. But please tell me, in this scene, how in the fat-ass feathered horse fuck am I supposed to understand why drum sand would magically instantly spawn a fucking worm? This movie is made to draw an audience that did not read the book or that will not read the book because unfortunately for some of you, and I know this hurts your feelings, some people will never read the books. My father, for example, ironic him being an academic, but reading fictional books is not his thing. It's not his shtick. He doesn't get any enjoyment from that whatsoever. He's a very visual person. So read the book, bro, is not a good argument. Back to the drum sand. Paul explains that it's drum sand. Or he doesn't really explain it. He just states.
It's drum sand.
And I can put two and two together that it's drum sand, or he's calling it that because it sounds like a drum when you step on it. However, he steps on it once. That's one syllable, or one whatever. And then he steps on it twice, right? And from what we have learned, and what people continue bringing up in the Dune movie throughout the entirety of the movie, is that worms are attracted to rhythmic patterns. Noises that drone on very rhythmically are what draw them. So if you're walking one foot after the other in a pattern interval, that's going to draw a worm. For example, you know the galloping horses? If you're galloping really fast with a horse, when horses are galloping, they gallop in like a 3-beat. So it goes... And if it's doing that continuously, that is going to draw a worm. If you have a metronome in the middle of the desert that is making a constant droning ticking noise, or the sound of an engine that is running because it has a very noticeable or predictable pattern, that's going to draw the worms because I guess biologically, because they can't see, they're like the Tremors graboid things from that movie. They're attracted to movement, and animals or things that they would normally hunt usually move in a pattern indicative of them walking across the sand, so that's what draws the fucking worms. They made a whole show of Paul learning how to walk in a way that doesn't feel or sound like a normal biological creature and to emulate the sounds of the desert, the wind and the ambience, in the way that he walks, which is the way that the Fremen walk, so that they don't draw the attention of the worms.
We're about to enter worm territory. We can't walk like regular humans. If we do, we're dead. We'll have to walk like the Fremen do. It's called a sand walk. At least according to the film books back home.
The worms will hear them walking in a pattern, like 1, 2, foot 1, foot 2, step, 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 step. That's how humans normally walk. But with the Fremen, it would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they'll ignore it because to the freaking the worms, it doesn't sound like walking. They're like, okay, I guess it's just the wind doing its shit. So in my brain, maybe I'm stupid like everyone's saying. Why wouldn't they just do the same thing on the fucking drum stand? If they make some same non-rhythmic motion like they do on the fucking sand, that's not drum sand or any other surface they're walking on, you know, and they do it on the drum sand as they did on the regular sand, why would that bring the worms to them if the worms are only attracted to people walking rhythmically or rhythmic noises, you fucking idiots? I'm sorry I'm getting mad, but like, how are people looking at this very clear contradiction and getting mad at me for it? So now that you came at me personally, now I'm gonna fucking attack you back because it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, it's not rocket science. I don't see how it's my fault or the fault of anybody else watching this movie if they criticize something that is clearly an oversight or makes no fucking sense. I mean, you can still enjoy the movie and point out that that's an issue. Even this person, who I assume is also a fan of the franchise, has the same issues or found the same issues in that. So it's not just me. I just happen to be the one that made the video about it, daring to criticize the actual glaring issues about the movie.
No, it's perfect.
To be fair, the original commenter did expound on this later and even reiterated that the movie did a bad job at explaining things, which makes their earlier comment kind of disingenuous or misleading. A lot of the fandom also tried to help me understand some things by answering questions and using the book to answer the questions that the movie should have done. I fully understand that the movie can't adapt every single thing and every piece of information in the way that a book can, but if you're going to add something to the story and not have the time to expound on its meaning or stay consistent with it, like the situation with the worm spawning immediately when two people accidentally for a second step on drum sand, not even rhythmically, but when the harvesters are down and they claim they're in worm territory, it takes forever for a worm to show up and get there. You cannot blame the audience for being confused or get offended when they poke fun at how ridiculous that is. Like, I love Game of Thrones, you know, before they messed up the last season and jumped the shark with that one. That was raw. But one of the running gags with all of us Game of Thrones fans, and specifically the people who watched the show that didn't read the books, I have to reiterate that because people blow things out of proportion. But anyway, yeah, the people of us that were fans of the show was, it was ridiculous how people in the show were just able to traverse wide distances across the world or across regions in seemingly an instant or very little time. Even though we still enjoy the show, it is okay for people to criticize something when the writers drop the ball or when it's ridiculous. The entertainment factor of the show allowed us to overlook this for the most part, but it was still pretty obvious, and it was very cringy when people called this out, and then you have this section of loudmouth fans saying, people are ridiculous and they can't just give you timestamps and let you know the time passage for everything. Even though something like that is, you know, easy to break the immersion for some people of this world, being realistic, you know, especially when the writers made it a point to be consistent with that specific feature early on. My only point of this video is relax. I don't know why people are not allowed to make fun of things anymore. There's a difference between poking fun at someone and laughing at them and then getting legitimately offended or angry over them making fun of a movie. It's not like they made fun of your sister or your mom and the wide gap between her legs. They made fun of a freaking movie or a show. Like, half y'all didn't even work on it. What are you so angry at? I actually had to legitimately block someone, which I don't do very often, except for those adult entertainment bots, if you know what I mean, because, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this person left 50 comments in all caps saying, "Read the book, bitch!" As if that's going to magically make me just absorb all the information from an 80-hour Dune series. It got to the point where it was just hilariously awkward and depressing and sad, and he started fighting with other people. So I'm like, you know what? Everyone could just read the book. We wouldn't really need movie adaptations. Like, think about how insulting that is to people who can't read or people who don't have the book available in their language, but now they're able to watch it on screen with the captions so they can understand the story. What if someone has ADHD and they can't sit down and read a book? And more importantly, what if they don't have the time, or what if they just don't want to? Or they're dyslexic or something, I don't know. Again, if you're creating an on-screen adaptation of a franchise, it requires being able to stand on its own. If people walk away from your on-screen adaptation of something and they're completely confused or don't enjoy it, then either they just didn't enjoy it or you messed up. I'm watching a show right now called Three Body Problem, and I didn't even know a book for this existed. That's another reason why people don't just read the books, because most of these works that come out, we didn't even know that books were available for this. So they're trying to reach a different audience, and nobody's gonna stop in the middle of their busy life when the show is just announced or when the movie is just announced. And, you know, when they have an hour to commit to an episode per day and start reading some long ass book when they have shit to do and kids to take care of and jobs. Like, I get that some of y'all are still in elementary school and junior high. You probably don't have jobs or something, or you don't have families, and you probably don't have 2 jobs. You're trying to make ends meet. But in the real adult world, people have responsibilities. And with money being so hard to come by right now, people barely have the time to even sit down and enjoy themselves. And this is coming from someone who loves reading and who loves listening to audiobooks. Like, I was just talking to my brother the other day, and he is busting his ass, working 12 hours. All he literally has time to do is come home, maybe eat and sleep, and go back and work. Like, he has no time whatsoever because he's trying to pay off his debts and whatnot. I swear some people need to have common sense, though. And fandoms need to realize that you can alienate people from your franchise that you're now depending on to make it more successful by acting like crazy cult members. Also, not everybody has to agree with you. I know I'm being a bit of a jerk in this video because I'm just giving back the same energy that I got, and I kind of want to be petty. But seriously, if you don't like something, or if you like something and other people don't feel the same way you do, you don't need to attack them. Keep the criticism towards the writers, but personally attacking other people or shaming them because they don't think like you or like what you like, it's kind of bigotry. And we can still find common ground and talk and debate with each other in a civil way when we both ingest the same entertainment. It's not going to ruin your life, nor should it ruin your entire personality, your soul, your existence. If somebody else doesn't agree with you about whether or not they like the movie that you like, that's top tier first world problems. As a matter of fact, you should be encouraging conversation by asking why they didn't like it, or do what a lot of people did in the comment section of that video and others, and share information about what you liked about the book, or what they could have done better than the movie, or why you liked the movie, or why you hated it. Having different opinions and perspectives is a good thing, because someone who hates something might have missed something that they could appreciate and vice versa, but then you're acting like a freaking radical, put whatever name you want on it, radical cult leader, member, whatever, drinking the Kool-Aid of whatever franchise's dick you're sucking, and you just completely turn off people, and then you actually make them hate the franchise. Like, they actually start wanting to have nothing to do with it, and they start telling other people, which I don't agree with, because if you only have one bad experience with one individual, you shouldn't just go and say, hey, the entire fandom is like this. That's why I tried to say it's a section of the fandom. But also remember, you're representing that fandom. And the one thing, like, I've had some people tell me that they don't like Jurassic Park. And I'm like, what? I'm shocked. I'm like, really? Most people like Jurassic Park? And then I'm curious. My first thing isn't to be like, well, you know, you gotta read the Michael Crichton books, and, you know, you're not a real this, and, you know, you're stupid, you probably just misunderstood everything. Like, no, why am I gonna get personally offended because someone genuinely didn't like a movie? The first thing I usually ask people like that is, I'm usually shocked, and then I'm like, why? Why didn't you, what was it about your experience that made you not like it? Do you not like dinosaurs? And I'm surprised, like, some people will actually give me a different perspective from an angle I've never even thought about, and I can completely see where they're coming from. Some people don't like it because of there's not a lot of accuracy in the way the dinosaurs are portrayed, which they do fix in the later movies, but they got it wrong in the first movie, so you can give them that point. But anyway, that's how you adult properly with etiquette. And then I like how some people will come out with comments about something, and it's fine, and they debate with you, and then you debate with them back, because now you're opening discourse and discussion. But then when you open up the discussion and you replied back to them, they get mad because you replied back to them, which is like, okay. And then they're like, but you wanted us to discuss things. Yes, a discussion is people going back and forth. It's me saying something in my video, opening up discussion. That's why the comments are enabled. And you saying something, whether you agree or not. And I usually like to engage with people. I engage with people who agree also, but I also love different perspectives. If I genuinely love something and someone absolutely hates it, I am so excited, because now I'm like, ooh, more new information. Like, get on the directors for it. And if you don't find that the directors did anything wrong, that's okay too. We can just all have fun and poke fun at something without your freaking asshole getting abrasive. Like, it's not even that serious. Anyways, that being said, again, as I've done, I liked the Dune movie. I liked the second movie. I've done videos on it. But yeah, I would see the second movie again in a heartbeat, more than I would see the first one. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the third movie, because I believe the third movie is going to close out everything. I may be wrong. Pacing was much better, though, in the second movie. Paul, damn. I don't know, that whole thing, like the interactions and all the different characters, great. And spoiler, this didn't happen in the movie. It's what I feel will happen in the next movie. Chani, I think she's pregnant. I don't know. I have a feeling. Just the way everything's going, because that would complicate things. And this movie, or the writers of the movie, seem to like to portray complicated interactions and ethics, which is one of the reasons I absolutely love Dune. A lot of the things in there are not just cut and dry. It causes you to think and put yourself in the person's shoes or the people's shoes. The idea of power, whether to believe something, if it's more than just coincidence, or you can, like, there's so many questions to glean from this. Even Paul's situation. Is he becoming lost in his power? He really went out of his way to try and avoid bloodshed, but can you really truly achieve peace and harmony without it? I mean, all the wars and the stuff that people stood for, that they were fighting for, it was all won in bloodshed. They tried to do it in a peaceful way, but the thing is, you can say, okay, I'm doing the best that I can for my society and community, and then people over here will see that as a weakness, you being nice and just being accepting, and they will burn your entire family to the ground like they did with his family line, just because you're trying to make things better and create harmony. It's like they set out to destroy you because of that, because they don't like nice things, and they see it just because you're weak, they just pounce on you, because like a wounded animal, you know, dogs, when they see a wounded animal, they'll chase it regardless, but for something about being wounded, like, okay, now you smell extra good because of your stress hormones and the way you're writhing down there, it's kind of turning me on. I like that. I want to sink my teeth inside you because of that. You know what I mean?